Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Rash's World. Today we have Andrea Menard on Rash's World. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Arash. I'm honored.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. Now, one of the things I do, and it's the toughest question, we just get it off right off the bat, is how would you briefly describe yourself in any way you see fit? What would you say? There's a lot to talk about, but what would you focus on here?
Well, maybe it's a perfect time because usually when we start something and we do a welcomer and an introduction, I like to introduce myself in the way I was taught.
Perfect.
So maybe that'll help answer the question. So, Tanchi Kiawao, hello everyone. Andrea Menard, Dishnekashon. Notagoyutin Dishnekashon, Shkotekwe Dishnekashon. So I'm a Métis woman from Treaty 1 territory in the homeland of the Métis, who currently resides and lives, works, and plays in the unceded traditional territory of the Squamish, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Musqueam people, also known as Vancouver, BC, Canada. So I am an actor, I'm a singer, I'm a writer, and I am a speaker or messenger. And I like to think of myself as a medicine wheel. As an Indigenous person, I think in a holistic way of looking at the world. So I'm a medicine wheel, but at the center point of my medicine wheel, I am a facilitator of the rise of the sacred feminine, which was taught to me by my elders.
That's
So I hope
wonderful.
that
That's,
answers.
that's very impressive. Awesome. So we also are going to talk about your book, and it's Seeds from the Sacred Feminine Wisdom Cards. So
Mhm.
it's a set of cards with beautiful paintings by Métis painter Leah Marie Dorion. That's
Yeah.
great. And it's wonderful. I think you had me by seeds already because
Mm.
I think seeds are very, very important. It's not only here in terms of nature, and you are talking about connecting to nature, to Mother Earth, and so on, but also in the sense of our plans, our wishes, our desires. And I think dreams are the seeds, and you need to cultivate them and let them grow. And so, yeah, why seeds? Is my first question.
I love that you like that word. Yeah, that's exactly it. From an Indigenous perspective, we talk about, the womb of life, the womb of creation. And the womb of creation lives within human beings, whether it's inside the womb of a woman or in the heart of all beings.
Mhm.
Now, when we enter that womb, it's a dark, mysterious place. And of course, mystery is sort of a no-no in this Western society. They're like, no, I want to know everything. I want to know the outcome. I want to know I'm safe. I don't like this unknown thing. So unfortunately, this world we live in, this Western culture that has permeated the globe, and it's a masculine, way of rejecting the feminine, the mystery. The great mystery is the unknown. And so by planting seeds in it, that's the only thing, anything that ever gets created comes into the darkness. All seeds that grow, plants in the earth, they all start in the dark mystery of the dark earth, the cold mystery, the darkness where it gets time and timing. Divine timing is when those seeds come. Oh, when the thaw comes, when the heat comes, when the rain comes, when the sun comes. There's timing towards those seeds being planted, but those seeds are there waiting. But that's exactly how all of life exists too. When we dream the next dream, we start with a seed. We start with an idea. We start with an impulse, a desire, an excitement. But that mysterious womb of creation is where it all begins. And unfortunately, even though society or the Western culture at large is frightened of that mystery, they're actually utilizing it every day. If they only knew they were planting seeds, good or bad, mostly bad sometimes. If they knew they were planting seeds within the darkness, they might actually have more respect for that feminine, mysterious nature of life, because we're all engaging within it every day anyway. We just may not be planting seeds we want.
Exactly. That's a great point. And for me, mystery, I always think of awe. So I've never seen it as something dark or negative.
Mm,
Mystery is something because I'm generally also curious. And so I think that for me, something that I'd love to discover and probably not get the answers, but I'm okay with uncertainty. And I see exactly what you say, though. A lot of people are afraid of uncertainty. And I think in many ways we need to embrace it. And there's so much we don't know and probably cannot know. At least it takes a lifetime of searching to get there. And I think yes, exactly. And the seeds we want to have. It's fascinating too. As seeds the seed is a tiny thing that can grow into like a marvelous tree, and how everything is connected in that way, and how it grows. And in terms of psychology, I love Maslow's self-actualization because the potential that this seed has and the potential that a small good act can have on other people and so on, it's amazing. And so why not? And we say you reap what you sow. So why not plant good seeds from the get-go and try to make
mm.
them as pure and as good as possible? But why do we have bad seeds then in that sense?
Well, I just want to acknowledge you, by the way. You're sort of touching my heart by saying you are not, that you feel the mystery is awe. Well, that in itself, to me, is a part of this rise of the sacred feminine that we're in right now. Is that for those ones in male bodies, or those who are expressing as masculine, to embrace the mystery is revolutionary. It really is. It's a beautiful. So I would like to acknowledge you
Thank you.
in your, because you wouldn't have had me on this show if you weren't embracing it. So I want to acknowledge you. I think bad seeds are planted through ignorance and through lack of consciousness.
Yes.
I think there are definitely some malevolent people with bad, harmful intentions on this planet. Let's not kid ourselves. But for the most part, I think a lot of harmful things get created by people being unconscious and unaware of what they're doing and creating. And if we do not wake up from the system that exists, we've been programmed to exist within within the system. And the system is self-perpetuating. It's very, very sophisticated, and it doesn't need one big boss to keep it going. Every human being that agrees to be a part of it and never question how it works are agreeing to be a part of the system, which is very, very abusive to almost everyone else other than who it was designed for. So in this time of the rise of the sacred feminine, we are unraveling those programs that make us obedient to the system. We are opening our voices to a new way of thinking. We're listening to indigenous ways of knowing. We're listening to the earth itself, the relatives that embody this beautiful earth. We're listening to the feminine. We're listening to people of color. We're listening, or hopefully we're listening, and
it's about time we do.
Right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of wisdom that's been left out of that system that is trying to awaken people out of this slumber. So if seeds are being planted, racist seeds, violent seeds, unjust seeds, if all of those things just keep happening and happening, it's because of unconsciousness, because of the lack of awareness of our own power. We have no idea. Human beings are so like walking around feeling so powerless and so victimized. And it doesn't matter what color of skin, you feel victimized by something on this planet. And when we don't recognize that we are powerful beings, we go around victimizing others when we play the victim, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If we woke up to our own power, we would see a very, very different world. And of course, I'm all the reason I created this deck of cards, the reason I'm, created this Sacred Feminine Learning Lodge, was to help people learn to walk gently on this planet, so that we don't exploit all the gifts that Mother Earth shares with us as a living being. She shares with us, and we don't exploit, the ultimate feminine source, which is our Mother Earth, which means we don't exploit women, we don't exploit children, and we don't exploit all those things that have been, people who are connected to earth-based cultures all of that has been involved in the exploitation and the brutality against women and children and earth-based cultures. So, and that's almost everyone on the planet at some point, you know, maybe it goes back further. But so in many ways, waking up from the program is the key to not perpetuating and creating bad seas. Oh, long answer.
Yeah. No, and I think we need more empathy. We need more understanding. We need more connection. And so, but these are things that kind of are not often encouraged in society. And I feel like, again, so Western society, but it's like, we want a strong person. We look up to a strong leader, but then that is fake, and that is actually not giving us anything of sustenance. That doesn't nourish us. It doesn't nourish the soul. So that I think a perfect leader in that sense would combine. I love the yin and yang, finding things again in balance, in harmony, the masculine and the feminine, and then the dots there that show it. It's like all together. But we are mostly driven. We are mostly by the negative side of masculinity, as you're saying. And I think we need to find that balance. And what better way of finding the balance than connecting with nature, than connecting with, again, Mother Earth, or the spirit, the feminine spirit, sacred feminine spirit, as you're saying. I think that is wonderful too. We need the infusion of that, I think, to wake up and find that balance again and live in harmony with ourselves, first of all, inner peace, that's hugely important, and then with others.
Absolutely. And, you know, as you said, this world, we're very, very driven. We're very, very action based. And that's all genders. We are encouraged to, because that's the masculine aspect of life is very, very rewarded in this system that exists. You know, in order to act this driven, action based, striving, conquering, competing way, there it's rewarded. So in many ways, we are actually searching for strong leaders who are balanced in their feminine, because there's nothing wrong with the masculine drive action. It's beautiful, unless it is not tempered by the sacred feminine stillness or receptivity or nurturing or listening. So if you think of the leaders today, especially the ones who embody more sociopathic tendencies, that is a leader. If that's what you mean, is that the leaders that have been revered in the past have had zero empathy, zero, you know. So to me, if that's a strong leader, I don't consider that a strong leader. I call that a sociopathic leader of the old paradigm. But the new strong leaders, to me, what they, you know, because there's nothing wrong with action, drive, all of those things. But when a leader can do those things as well as listen and honor their sacred feminine wisdom. So in many ways, I've heard from elders that the Western culture is a backwards society, because if you think about it, most people do and act, and then oops, the consequences come later. Oops. But in a sacred feminine, indigenous way of looking at the world, a paradigm, that a worldview that says the sacred feminine way of being is actually a wiser, gentler way of being on the planet. It does not mean we don't act masculine. That's not the case. But just think of this: if you actually respect and honor the sacred feminine, you would listen, you would sit in a receptive state, you know, with the ideas. Okay, say you want to take action, but then you would sit in a receptive state first. You would listen and receive, maybe talk to the ancestors, open up that channel to the ancestors that have a wiser point of view than we do, and to go, let me know what the next path to take is. And then you are given the next action to take. You don't take the action first and then go, oh, oops, that was a mistake. Oh, that just leveled an entire forest, or that, you know, extinguished an entire people. You know, it's like listening first and then acting. How will I want to build something here. Okay, well, let me see how the animals and the plants, I'm going to ask them, I'm going to pray to them, I'm going to put down tobacco, I'm going to have ceremony to ask and ask permission to come and build here. Now imagine a world where we were in communication with the beings that live the alive beings, and we said, do I have permission to build here? And you might get the answer saying, no, this here, you have to move 100 meters this way. It's like, why? Because there's a natural spring here, or the ancestors were here, or this is here. You know what I mean? You might get answers. You will get answers. If we open up that channel, we all have the capacity to connect with the higher wisdom that is our ancestors, that is our higher self, whatever you want to call it, our angels, our grandmothers, no matter, but until we decide that connecting with the sacred feminine is a wise thing to do to live in harmony on this planet, we will continue to boulder ahead with blindness and brutality without knowing, well, what did I do wrong? So yeah, the feminine is a tempering aspect of life for sure.
I think one of the issues is also the division that you see, like us versus them. That could be in terms of nations, that could be my family versus your family, and race and so on. And a lot, this is illusion, first of all. Well, I mean, that would just make it up. But in many ways, I saw an interview with James Cameron, who had a very interesting point of view. Said, well, the us is really protected, and we care about them. So that could be again our family. We care about our family and want the best for them. But what if we expand that circle and include the nation? And what if we expand it even further? And I had another guest here talk, what about including the cosmos and beyond? So when that circle becomes that large, then you don't see the other as other. And you're like, we're all in this together. And you see that interconnectedness. And I think that happens in many ways with science too. I read a book about the difference between a Zen monk and a scientist. The Zen monk looks at the flower and appreciates it. And again, an indigenous person would do the same. Whereas the Western scientific mind would take it and would like analyze it and try to figure out what's happening to it. And that drive for knowledge, I think, is commendable. I mean, I'm fully for it. But at the same time, appreciating the beauty of it and perhaps not killing the flower. Yeah,
Yeah.
Which would be better. Find a better way of analyzing it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
And so cards are important. So wisdom, feminine, and sacred, feminine, all these words I love and I can relate to. Wisdom, of course, that's something that's what my podcast is about, my life is about, but also cards. I find that very fascinating. And I just want to give you here just brief impression of my relationship with cards. Started at age 16, where my French teacher, of all people, in high school, in a German high school, I grew up in Germany, who read my tarot cards. And I was hooked after that. And I even brought my own deck and my own book, and I've been reading it from many people. I've done it for myself many times when I need guidance and help and so on. So ever since then, cards have become so important to me. And I love it that you have 52 cards. So it's the 52 weeks in a year, but also there are 52 playing cards as well, which is fascinating. And how all of this is connected. Yeah, let's talk about your deck.
This little deck of cards is not a tarot deck. I just like to, but it's what I've heard from people who are tarot card users is that it's a good companion. So this is, it could be considered an oracle card deck. So like you were saying, you take a card, you pick a card and read the little message in the booklet. So I wrote a book with all the knowledge and all the teachings. But, the decks of cards have sayings, and this is some of the artwork. If people who are listening on the podcast can't see that I'm showing some photos on the video, but
and they're
showing the cards. They're stunning, right?
Yeah.
But people who are new to oracle card decks, or sorry, not new to, let's just say that this is like an oracle card deck for people who are used to it, but it's the first Métis version, like it's an indigenous deck, and it's created with land-based teachings. It's very, very simple. On the surface, they're very simple teachings where you'd be like, huh? But if you read and you listen and you look at the artwork, it can land in very deep places if you allow it to. So sometimes though, the feminine wisdom and Mother Earth, connecting to Mother Earth is very simple, which is why it's overlooked, which is why
Mhm.
it's not
Mhm.
valued, because it seems so simple. Well, it's obvious, but is it obvious? Are people actually doing these things to connect? So, this is a way, by choosing a card a day, it's like you're asking for higher guidance, and you can read the little message in the deck. Um, but for people who have never heard of oracle cards, it's sort of a way of listening to the ancestors, a way of listening to that higher guidance that I was talking about. So
Mhm.
say you have a decision you want to make,
Mhm.
and you're saying, shall I, let's go back to that same analogy, shall I build here? Shall I
Yeah.
build here? And you can ask, going, so please, to the deck of cards, and you ask that question, I want to know if you can please help me with my intuition whether I should build here. And you might have an answer that comes, that moves you in a different direction.
Mhm.
Go sit by the
Absolutely.
water. It's like, oh, closer to the water.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I want to comment on some of them, the ones that I've seen. And there's one lie on the ground. I really
mm,
like that. Can we
mm,
elaborate a bit about that? So what do you mean
yeah.
by it and what does it represent? And yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mother Earth is the ultimate source of wellness.
Mhm.
She is our source of wellness. And of course, the lives that we live, especially here we are in these little boxes. Hi, on a Zoom. Hi. I'm very grateful to these things, but we're inside on these technological, devices. And so we're not connecting to Mother Earth. And people have heard of, earthing or grounding. Well,
Mhm.
lying with your back on the earth is like spine to spine. You're
Mhm.
actually allowing your own body, well, maybe your belly, putting your belly or your back on the earth. It's like you're actually allowing the grounding, the magnetic quality of the earth to actually heal you, to actually touch you, to heal all of those electromagnetic waves that come
Mhm.
from working inside, indoors, with everything electronic around us. We go and lay
Artificial
on the
light
earth,
as well. Yeah.
artificial
Yeah.
light, all those things that we just go lay on the earth. It's like she can take that away from us. She can remove those agitating, jittery energies from us. And most people are suffering from lack of sleep, from anxiety, from
Mhm.
all of these things, but they don't realize that it could be the environment around them. So by connecting with the earth, see, she is a living being. These things around us are not living. They're not made by nature. They're made by man, which they're
Mhm.
made up of things that come from the earth. But the earth herself
Mhm.
has healing properties that, if we just opened up those doorways to communicate with her, let her communicate with us. That's the
Mhm.
big deal. We can go, oh, Mother Earth, yes, I'm looking at you.
Yes,
But what about listening to what she
that's it.
says to us?
Mhm.
She's the one who told me. I would be walking and she'd be like pulling me down. I'd be like, I just gotta lay down here. And I'd be like smack face down on my belly on the plant. And I realized this was her way of getting through to me. Lay down, lay down, lay down, lay down. And I would be healed
Mhm.
with a
Yeah.
few minutes, few hours, however long. It's a wise thing to do. I'm glad you picked that one.
Yeah, yeah, I really like that. And it also resonates with me because I love nature walks. And it's
Mm.
just recently it has changed a lot. Because before I take a walk because I need to work out something at work or problems or issues. But now it's a walk because I want to see the ducks. I want to see the leaves. I want to hear the birds, right? And
Yay.
so it's always there though. And I didn't see it for so many years. And there's like sometimes like regret. You like, I wasted time. I missed out on all of this, which is again a bit negative, and we need to move on and say, but from now on, I'll take it as a lesson and as a lesson and will pay attention to it. And I think for me, mindfulness, that's it. Of really being aware of it, of seeing the mating rituals of ducks, which was pretty amazing. And it was always there in front of my eyes, but I did not
Oh,
see it. So that
so
related to me a lot.
beautiful.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
But I also like, again, personally, about the wisdom of your feelings. And I think feelings often get a bad rap. And I think we have to be very careful with that because feelings are a wonderful source of inspiration, of knowledge, and so on. And it can turn into negative, but that's not so much the feelings. I think it's something else that gets added to the mix, something like that's toxic, if to use that word. And so I like that card too. Listen to the wisdom of your feelings, and you're
Mm.
also a wellness trainer. So what would you say about that?
Oh, I love that you picked that one too. Arash, you're a wise man. I love that you resonated with that card. Oh my gosh. Wisdom, feelings that I like to say are wisdom keepers. They're wisdom keepers. And you're right, is that the feminine has got, or the feelings have got a bad rap. And in our world, you know, the masculine is logical. And it's beautiful that it can, you know, piece things together. But when we choose and we say it, the system says logic is more important and better, and feelings are, you know, are devalued at the rate and the extent that it is. We walk around blind.
That's true.
Our feelings are wisdom keepers. Our feelings, when we follow them, lead us to truth. But it's like sometimes it's like the feelings come, but only on the other side of feelings do we actually get the nugget of wisdom, which means we have to do the work of walking through them. Now, because feelings are difficult, some feelings are terrifying. You know, we think, because we actually believe we're going to die. If we feel this feeling to the end, no, it will actually kill me. If I feel this rage, I will kill someone. If I feel this grief, I will never get out of it. If I feel this depression, this despair, I will die. You know, and those are really intense beliefs around feelings. So I can understand why the masculine went, nope, there's no room for that here. Nope.
Love that.
But the truth is that if you watch a baby has a lot to teach us. The only language it can speak is feelings when it comes into this world. And that being is loved. And when they feel a rage with their entire being, and like their whole body opens up into rage and squeeze, you know, it's like they breathe rage in and out, and then it's over.
And they're so cute doing it too.
They cry with their entire body, and they cry, and then they cry it out, and it's over. They laugh with their entire being, and they laugh until it's done. And they're clean. They're clean because it comes in, it comes out. Now, somewhere along the line, we've decided that that's not allowed, that's not okay. We get triggered by everyone else's feelings. But if we were a society that allowed feelings to flow through people, and we didn't take it personally, and we didn't go, you're doing this to me. No, you're actually just having a feeling. And it's pretty intense from how it looks. It's pretty intense what you're feeling right now.
And they're your feelings. They're not mine. You know, that's the other thing.
Yeah, because in this world, it's like, you're making me feel this, and we squeeze it back, right?
Exactly.
So the parenting skills were not amazing with feelings, because as a culture, as a societal culture, you know, feelings have become something, we don't speak the language anymore. It's like it's something we've repressed and put aside, and no, you're inconvenient, you're embarrassing, you're weak. No, go over there. So if we were to start honoring our own feelings, then we start honoring others, and we don't take it on ourselves. We don't think they're ours. We don't think they're punishing us. We actually just recognize somebody in pain, because wounded people, you know, it's a saying that has a lot of merit and goes around and around. Wounded people wound others, hurt people hurt others. And when we deal with our own hurts, and trust me, the wounds that colonization has caused from the beginning of colonization, it has usurped entire cultures and spit it out on the other side. And who has dealt with this lineage of pain? Who has dealt with it? And here they are, they bring it to this land, and my people, the indigenous people of this land, have been traumatized by colonization, because the people who were traumatized brought it over here. So at some point, the feelings of trauma, the feelings that get passed down, the feelings that are never dealt with, have to be, you know, it's a time of reckoning. It's a time of actually having to face your own trauma. And maybe if your parents can't, you got to deal with theirs too. And it says it stops here. It stops with me, because feelings are the key. The feeling of rage is sometimes when a boundary has been crossed. Right? But what if you actually just knew, because your feelings were so clean, you went, oh, a boundary's been crossed, instead of a boundary's been crossed, and you create this war of don't cross this boundary, instead of saying, no, that's actually, nope, you crossed a boundary. That's not acceptable to me. Imagine if we were that wise about how we felt.
And I've heard that what's very interesting, the animals have, like in the animal world, they have the shakes. So when they're stressed, they kind of shake and then it gets it out of their system. We don't have anything similar to
Yep.
that. And we actually are not dealing with those feelings. And I feel like, and I've talked in my podcast too about that, we're like a pressure cooker, that it's like, we have all these feelings that we're not dealing with, feelings of depression, anxiety, and so on. And it gets building and building, and then it bursts out in an act of
Yeah.
violence, or
Yeah.
in my case, experiencing panic attacks where you go, wait a minute, I think my body is trying to communicate something with me that I've been wrong, and I need to take things different. I need to process those feelings. And I
Oh,
think when we look at trauma, that's hugely important, and not feeling stuck in that. Facing it is healing, is liberating. But
so
I
good.
see people who kind of close off. And again, those are the wounded ones who hurt others, and they are continuing with the hurt. And
Yeah.
we need to and talk with that and have those uncomfortable discussions with ourselves and with others. I think that's hugely important. And we are
Mm.
getting better though in many ways. I think there is a push towards that. So I'm rather optimistic, but I'm also hopeful, and I think there are signs of it. Of course, there's never enough, but we have to keep trying. I think that's important.
Yeah, when you say that we're pressure cookers and it comes out as, as violence, but
Yeah.
it also lodges in our organs. It
Yeah.
lodges, it causes actual disease in our
Various diseases,
bodies.
I can tell you. Yeah.
So if that rage goes into our liver, or our grief goes into our lungs or our heart, those have long-term effects. So imagine that a feeling just wants to travel through us. That's it. It just
Mhm.
wants to travel. It's not a sedentary species, that feeling. It's meant to travel.
And we have to stop judging it too, the good and bad, or this is a good thing, this is a bad thing. They're just feelings, and they're there
Yeah.
for a reason, just to use another word there, but they're there for a reason, and that's why they exist. And once we open up to them, we're gonna be fine. It's the feeling doesn't do anything. It's like what we
Yeah.
make out of it that creates the violence and the actions. But a feeling of violence is you feel it and get it out of your system without
Yeah.
acting upon it. I think that's
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah, and oh, I'm sorry, I may have forgot what I was going to say, but we as a culture have so much rage and so much stuff, right? That what if we actually knew that feelings were finite?
Mhm.
What if we knew it was finite? Because at the point, it just feels like it's going to take over my world.
Mhm.
But actually, no, it just travels through. It just wants
Mhm.
to, it wants to end. It wants to be in and out. It's a messenger of wisdom. So yeah, that's one of the cards. Thank you for choosing that one.
And I like to here wrap up with the final card, and I think that is wonderful too. Saying a prayer of thanks and gratitude, and I think we often omit that, and we often get kind of bogged down in negativity or the bad stuff, which does happen. I'm not saying, I'm not minimizing it, but why not shift that towards like, I appreciate what I have, whatever it is, whatever little it is, and so on. And I think I like that. So let's talk about saying a
Mm.
prayer of thanks. I love that very much.
Well, I love it for several reasons because, first of all, there's the word prayer in it.
Mhm.
There's a word prayer. It's like a prayer of thanks, and that to me is that you're moving into a sacred way of being. It doesn't matter how you pray, it's none of my business,
Mhm.
but to say a prayer means you have moved into a sacred way of being, a receptive mode. Because
Mhm.
a prayer can be very, very receptive if you
Mhm.
are allowing instead of if you're doing, there might be prayers that do, but in this way is that you're actually allowing the feeling of gratitude to overcome you.
Mhm. Mhm.
And and gratitude, what you focus on grows. So when you focus on things that you are grateful for, when you thank you for the beauty all around me and just watch the beauty unfold, just like as you said, the ducks,
Yeah.
they were there all along and I didn't see them. I missed it, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because you're choosing to focus on the beauty of the
Mhm.
natural world around you and look at the nourishment that it provides you. See, that's the part we don't get, right? Is that I have to do all these things that make me happy, right? With
No.
a curmudgeonly,
Yeah.
stamping of your feet. But the truth is that when we do receive gratitude, allow gratitude to touch our hearts, we are given back. It's like gratitude gives back tenfold. Beauty gives back tenfold. Love gives back 1,000-fold, right? It
And there's no
always
limit to it. I
nurtures.
think people
No.
also think it's like, oh, if I give away love, then I lost it. No, it comes back to you again, like a
Yeah.
hundredfold, as you say. Yeah.
Give it away. Give it away.
Yeah.
But gratitude is if human species is, or the Western culture is indoctrinated to do something, well, then do something with gratitude. Say a prayer of thanks.
Yeah.
Open up, a channel of doing things that bring about gratitude. So there's a way of tricking your mind of saying, no, I have to do something. Okay, well then make a list of things you're grateful for. But saying a prayer of thanks is a very receptive way of being. And it's a feminine way of saying, oh, thank you, Mother Earth, for your beauty. Thank you so much for surrounding me with all the beautiful colors and sounds and smells of this beautiful earth. That's a receptive way of being.
Yeah. And a certain humility too that goes with it, because you are embracing something that is more powerful than you are. And instead of like always trying to control everything, I think that kind of limited worldview. Thank you so much. Gratitude towards you. Thank you so much for being here, Andrea Menard. So I want to remind everyone your book and a deck of cards is Seeds from the Sacred Feminine Wisdom Cards. It's accompanied by paintings by Métis painter Leah Marie Dorion. And you yourself are an actress, a playwright, a jazz singer. You are the founder of the Sacred Feminine Learning Lodge, as well as Real Diva. Just like to put that in there.
My, that goes way back.
Thank you so much for being on Avash's World. Such a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for having me, my brother. It was a beautiful conversation. And people can find me if they're looking at andreamenard.com. Okay. And the cards are andreamenard.com//cards. Easy.
Wonderful. Thanks so much.